everyone. Welcome to the Dancing Bear Enlightenment Academy's podcast, Holistic Transformation. I am your host, Dr. Beverly. Excuse me. So we're at a very unusual time right now. Humanity is on the threshold. A shocking event has shaken people worldwide, awakening deep grief, uncertainty, and the demand for change. And it's coming from people on both sides. So we are approaching a powerful solar eclipse right after a lunar eclipse that really shook us up. I talked about that in previous episodes. But on September 21st, coming up, I'm releasing this on the 15th. I'm recording it on the 14th. So it's, I think, next week's Sunday. Where's my calendar? Yeah, next week's Sunday. Depending on where you are in the world, the eclipse will be September 21st. And this is a cosmic alignment that mirrors this breaking open moment. In times like these, we are invited not only to respond outwardly, but to look inward. How is this energy reshaping us spiritually, mentally, emotionally, and physically? Both us and all of humanity. So let me do a share screen. As usual, I made some slides. Let's see, I could never find it, and it's a bright green button. You'd think by now I'd know where it is. Okay, I think you can see it. So the name of this podcast is Eclipse of the Old, Birth of the New, Navigating Humanity's Paradigm Shift. So we have collective shock. It's affecting everyone, and it affects our nervous system. So your cortisol will be up. It can lead to fear. It can lead to depression. It can lead to anger. It can lead to all kinds of different emotions. And this is going to affect our nervous system. It's going to affect our adrenal glands. So that's what we're going to talk about tonight. So the collective tragedies strike. They don't just make headlines. They reverberate throughout the human nervous system and they reverberate through all of humanity. And when humanity, their vibration goes crazy, it affects the planet, it affects the animals, it affects everything on Earth. So we're all being affected. And just like an individual who experiences trauma, this for many people is trauma. Humanity as a whole can enter fight, flight, or freeze, or they can just collapse. So where are you? Were you able to process things just by, okay, this is another Martin Luther King event? Or were you able to, did you go into fight, flight, freeze, or did you just collapse and go into depression and not even know what to do? So some of you may have noticed that you feel restless or unable to sleep. You may have had surges of grief or anger that just seem out of nowhere, or you may feel numb. And at the end of this podcast, I'm going to talk about my own journey from the last couple of weeks, from the lunar eclipse until now, and what I plan to do over this next week, because you're going to go through a lot, whether you like it or not. Okay. These outer planets affect all of humanity and the Earth. This is not just an individual thing, or if you're a light body or a chosen one or whatever you want to be called on YouTube or in social media. This affects everybody, no matter who you are. Okay, it's not personal. You're connected to the greater human field. We're all one. What affects one of us is going to affect all of us. But with Pluto in Aquarius, we're going to talk more about that in a minute. It affects everyone. Aquarius is about everyone. So you are feeling the echo of billions of hearts beating together in grief and longing for justice. I know that's the first thing that I was hit with. I want justice because there has been no justice for a very long time. I believe maybe a couple thousand years. It's just been things need to change, and we're at the tipping point this week and next week. Well, this month, September. September 2025 is the tipping point. I actually thought it was going to come in August. And no, that was just getting us ready. The tipping point is September. So if you're an empath like me, you're going to feel this echo of billions of hearts. And you need to deal with that. We're going to talk about ways to deal with, but even if you're not an empath, even if you normally don't feel a lot of what's going on, you're going to be impacted whether you feel it or not. This is going to hit you if it hasn't already. So let's talk about the astrology a little bit. So this is what we're moving through. So first of all, we'll have the solar eclipse on September 21st. And eclipses shut doors and open doors. So it's like the saying, when one door closes, another door opens. So it's not the end of the world. I know a lot of people like to say, oh, the predictions from 2000 years ago say, well, I don't do all that stuff. Let that go. Instead, if you're able to do a meditation and look at what is shutting down for you, what is ending, what is closing, and what is coming up, what is opening up, because it's not the end of the world. So this one is going to highlight the balance between discernment, which is Virgo, and surrender, which is Pisces. And I've been teaching medical medical intuition, which I now call holistic intuition, for decades. And I teach the different initiations that people go through. And if you want to understand that, you can take my Home for Success program. It's free. The link is down below. OMFOR success.com. It's free. And I go through the initiations that all souls go through. And you don't go through one, you go through them like a spiral, because as you go up and you learn more, you have to repeat the lower ones with your new understanding of things. Discernment is the first chakra. It is the first initiation that we are supposed to learn, and we're supposed to learn it as children. And in all the years with all the people I've taught, I taught one who had good discernment. And it's what I see as the biggest thing missing today is the lack of discernment. And I'm not going to go into that because that'll just trigger a lot of political stuff. You figure it out. What is it people have poor discernment about today? So what this is going to ask us is what illusions are dissolving and what clarity is being born. So what have you believed in the past was true? And in my teachings, I don't try to change anyone's belief systems, or because I believe you were born into a certain culture, a certain religion, a certain color, whatever, on purpose. Your soul chose that. So it's not up to me to change it. But the universe is now asking you to look at what you believe, and do you need to change one or two things? I mean, you can't obviously change some things, but what is it you are being asked to let go of and now embrace? And it's asking that of all of us. There's no exception. I don't care who you are, you're not getting out of this. We will all be asked, and it's a test. Will you pass or fail? Because if you don't let go, you won't pass the test. That means you get to repeat the lesson again. And I don't know about you, but I don't want to do this again. This is enough for me. Okay, so Saturn. Saturn is retrograded back into Pisces. It was going forward in Aries, conjunct Neptune, and it's now gone retrograde back into Pisces, where it spent a couple of years. So you can go back. How were the last couple of years, 2021, 2020, well, I think it started in 2021, maybe late in 2021, but all of 2023, I said 2021, parts of 2022, all of 2023 and 2024, you were under the influence of Saturn in Pisces. And that's where Saturn is not exalted in Pisces, it's kind of weak. And so it was encouraging us to make changes. By retrograding back, it's saying, okay, there's certain changes you didn't make, and I'm just going to remind you of it because you need to make those changes. And it's going to get some help from Pluto, and we'll get to that in a second. So in Pisces, we're asked to face spiritual lessons of grief, compassion, and unity. Now, isn't that what everyone's going through right now? Some people are in grief, some people are in compassion, and they're in unity. And there's a lot of people that don't have any of this. Why? This is a lesson for you. And some people get it, and some people aren't getting it. And that means you're going to be repeating all of this because you don't get it. So I encourage all of you to look within, do a meditation, a prayer, whatever you do in your belief system, and find out what is it you need to do to deal with these spiritual lessons and do it in a mature emotional way. So old karmic wounds surface so that we can release them. So we don't need to hold on to old trauma. I had someone close to me say, oh, I forgive and I don't carry that. And I reminded them that our body stores the trauma. It stores it in our aura and it stores it in our cells. So in your mind, you may think I've completely forgotten it because I forgave them. Well, you might have forgotten it consciously, but subconsciously, the trauma's still there. It's still in your aura and it still creeps up on you when you're not paying attention. You'll respond in a way and you go, where did that come from? That's that unconscious stuff you hadn't dealt with. So it's going to surface now, and it's time to really let it go at a deep level. Do aura cleansing. If you have to, you can get like acupuncture treatments. You can get massage, maybe a chiropractor treatment, some kind of holistic health treatment that suits your body. Maybe do qigong, tai chi, or yoga, or whatever, and set the intention to release this old trauma. Okay, so let's go to Pluto. Oh my goodness gracious. So Pluto in Aquarius is there to transform us through shock and upheaval. Didn't we just have a shock? And aren't we in upheaval? We've been in upheaval since a certain tea guy got into, where. I'm not going to say anything more. And so this is about the collective. It's not personal. We're all going through this to create people of the future. Now, in past podcasts, I've talked about the new human. So if you do a little Google search on my channel, I don't post those cards, that say, here's this thing. If you want to find it, you can look for it. But I talked about the new human. So if you look up new human, you'll see that podcast where I talk about what's coming in the gene codes. There's another podcast on the gene codes. So we are witnessing an initiation of humanity into this new paradigm. Okay. I like to tell people when we have paradigms, horses, they put blinders on so they can only see straight ahead and they can't get distracted by what's going on. That's a paradigm. We have blinders on and you literally can't see what's over here. You have no clue. And if someone says, oh, this is over here, you won't believe them because you can't see it. No matter what they say, you can't see it. And what this is doing is it's saying, your paradigms are going to move out here. And the more you learn, the more you grow, the further out your paradigms go, until eventually you're actually able to see the whole big picture. Who is God? Who created us? Why are we here? What's everyone's soul purpose? Because we're all one. But it takes a lot to get people's paradigm shifts out here. A lot of you don't even believe in reincarnation. I remember my past lives. So we're all different and we all have different levels of our paradigms, but this is what we're going through right now. Major paradigm shifts for all of humanity. So in Aquarius, it's the collective, people of the future, the new human. So we are witnessing an initiation. I think I already said that. So we talked about the new human. I already said that. Oh, well, sorry, I repeated myself. Sometimes I get ahead of myself. Okay, so I've been speaking recently about the paradigm shift gene, the inner capacity that awakens in some of us when humanity reaches a turning point. So some of us, I'm old, okay? Those of you who know me know how old I am. We incarnated earlier, a long time ago, and we were setting the stage. Then the next group incarnated, and they were influenced by us to set the stage for the next group, and so on. You know, we have the boomers, and then the Gen X, and then the Ys, and then the Zs, and somewhere in there, there's millennials. And then there's people being born since 2000. I mean, this is 2025. And what I realized the other day is there are people who are adults, they're 25 years old, and they were born not in the 1900s. Okay. I'll only say I was born before 1950 even. So for me, I mean, I remember the 60s and 70s. I remember the 50s. Okay. So there's people here that have no clue what happened 75 years ago or 80 years ago. You know, my dad fought in World War II. There's people here who are third generation of no one fighting in the World War II. So it's different perspectives for different people depending on how old you are, because it's different when you remember history and lived through it versus read about it. It's not the same. And so some of us are here to awaken early and then help those of you who are only just awakening or have partially awakened so that you can fully awaken to help those who are just starting. So it's like one person helps maybe six, and then those six help six, and then those, you know, it's logarithmic because there's only 6 degrees of separation between each human. So if you know 6 people, each of them knows 6 people, each of them knows 6 people. So if you can influence just 6 people, that influence ripples out, eventually impacting all of humanity. So I'm encouraging you to do what you need to do to reach that turning point within yourself so that you can help the 6 people that source, God, divine, whatever you want to call them, him, her. But I believe the creator of the universe has no gender. In the Bible, it says we were created in the image of God. That's a lowercase g. We were genetically modified in the image of the aliens who came to Earth. And if you don't like what I said, that's okay. Let it go. It's all going to be out in the open here pretty soon. But the creator of the universe created everything. And if you learn the history of just Earth, which is several billion years old, it's not, humanity has not been here for 5,000, 10,000, 100,000 years. We started out as light beings, but we had no way to deal with third density. We have been through the worst of third density, and now we're going back to being light beings so that we can manifest third density from a place of love, which is where we started. We were light beings with love, but we didn't know how to work in third density. We had to be here, be materialistic, let the materialistic go, and go back to being a light being, but able to survive in third density in a state of love. So that's where we're going. That's the big plan for humanity. And you're feeling it now. We're here. We're going through it. Now, some of you, like I said earlier, you may be empaths and you may be going, oh my God, what's going on? I'm going crazy. I know I've had a couple days like that myself. But that's what's going on. We're having a massive paradigm shift, and it's going to affect everybody, whether you like it or not. So what does it look like? You're going to have clarity about your life purpose. So I do medical astrology, and a lot of times I look at the chart and I immediately know, oh, this person has this purpose, or they have only one purpose. They came here for this. I look at my chart, I have two purposes. I came here for two things. It's just so obvious when I look at my chart now that I know how to read charts. For years, I looked at my chart and I couldn't figure it out. But I've taken some certification classes and now I can see it, and I see it in other people's charts. So if you think you don't have a purpose, think again. It's there. Get a reading on your chart if you want to know what it is, if you can't figure it out. But this is the time that we're in right now. What is your purpose? And you're going to get a lot of clarity, especially over the next week. Well, I'd say the next couple of months. Okay, this eclipse is going to hit us hard next week. It's going to hit us before the eclipse happens. And if you don't deal with it then, you're going to have to deal with it afterwards in spades, so to speak. In other words, intensely. So you can no longer do things the way you always have done in the past. You have to change. Change is coming. I know some people resist change, especially Taurus and Virgo, those earth signs. Cardinal signs, so Aries, Cancer, Libra, and Capricorn are cardinal signs. They embrace change. Sometimes we make change happen. But some of the other signs, they either don't want the change to happen, so they're the signs before the cardinal signs, and then there's the signs right after the cardinal signs, and those are the ones that have been through the change and now they want more stability. So it just depends on what your sun, moon, and ascendant is. So my sun and ascendant are both cardinal signs, and my life path is a 5, and 5 is about change. So I'm always changing. I've been through many transformations. I embrace change. So if you're not one of those people, talk to someone who is and have them help you through it. Get help if you need it, because you're going to have to change, whether you want to or not. The world is going to change. The humanity is going to change. The people around you are going to change. So your intuition is going to go way up. I know when Saturn, well, I'll talk about what happened before, but your intuition is going to go up. You're going to start noticing synchronicities. So this is when you can't believe something just happened, just like magic. I've always thought, oh, it's magic. Yay, I had a synchronicity, because like anyone who knows me knows I have the parking gene. If I'm in the car with you and we're looking for a place to park, I'll say, go down here, and we go down there, and all of a sudden someone pulls out and we pull in. I never have a problem when I need a parking space. There's always one right when the parking lot can be full. There's tens of cars driving all around, and I'll immediately get a place to park. So some of us have incredible synchronicities. This is going to be happening for all of you, okay? If you're not used to having magic happen all the time, I call it magic. It's technically just synchronicity, but it's a gift. It's a gift from the creator. So even bodily changes, like all of a sudden I decided to change my diet. Now I'm losing weight. I've actually lost 20 pounds this year. New sensitivities, bursts of energy. And we'll talk about the bursts of energies and the sensitivities and how you'll go up and down like a yo-yo in a minute. Okay. This new gene, the new human that's coming, doesn't activate in calm times. Okay. It awakens when the old order cracks open. And that is what we're living through right now. The recent events, we've had a lot of, I'll call them false flags, is what most people call them. And people have almost become desensitized to them. So they needed to do something even bigger. And they cracked the egg, the saying of Humpty Dumpty, he fell off the wall, and no matter what they did, they couldn't put him back together again. That's where we are. Humpty Dumpty fell off the wall. The old order is cracking. What has controlled us for over 2,000 years is going down. Okay. We will change whether we like it or not. What that change is depends on us. It depends on, do you change? Are you willing to change? Or are you going to stay stuck? Are you opening up to your soul purpose? Are you starting to manifest your purpose? If not, why not? Okay, so here are a few tools for navigating. So I have several slides. We're going to go through this. So how do we move through these energies with grace? So here's some things. I always give you some suggestions. And after this, I'm going to tell you what I'm planning for this next week. Breath work. Inhale for 4, hold for 4, exhale for 6. So this is a little different than the ones I've suggested in the past. So your exhale is going to be a little bit longer. And then it doesn't say it, but you want to kind of hold for 1, and then inhale for 4, hold for 4, and then exhale for 6. I guess in past, I was doing the inhale and the exhale, and you couldn't hear me breathing, and so you didn't know. It was just silence on the podcast. I apologize for that. I listened to it. I went, oh, that doesn't work. So I won't give you an example of how to do it. I'll let you figure that out for yourself. And remember, the count of 4 and the count of 6 is your 4 and your 6. So use what works for you. Okay. Touch therapy. This, you put your hand over your heart and start breathing slowly. So you can do that while you do the breath work. I think this is an old Cherokee thing. You put your hand over your heart and ask a question. Sometimes what I'll do is, if I have a patient and I want to know what's best for them, I'll have them hold whatever it is, put a hand over the heart. How do you feel? Does this feel good or no? Doesn't feel good, that's the wrong thing. Feels good, that's the right thing. I've even had people, when I didn't have the product, I would say, put your hand over your heart, and in your other hand, imagine that you have that item in your hand. And now, does it feel good? Now imagine you've just taken that. And then I'll say, now how do you feel? And they'll go, wow, I feel it worked. Okay. So you don't actually have to have anything. You can just bring in that frequency, and you don't have to consciously know the frequency. Your soul knows the frequency of everything. So you just trust your soul to bring in the right frequency. I know it sounds really weird. I've been doing it for decades and it works. Okay. So if you can't afford to buy something that I'm suggesting, like the essential oils, just say, I have this oil here. I give it to myself now. That frequency is in my body, and I'm now blessed with its energy. Okay. So essential oils. So I'm suggesting lavender or chamomile. I tend to drink chamomile tea, especially in the evening or anytime I feel really stressed, I'll have chamomile tea. Now, if you can handle dairy. Now, I can't handle dairy, but I can handle butter, hard cheese, and whipping cream. So never use half and half because it's half milk. Whipping cream is, and you need to read the label, some whipping cream is made with milk. You want to have the whipping cream that's made with cream and not overly pasteurized. And so if it's not overly pasteurized, it doesn't last very long. If it's pasteurized, it'll have a longer expiration date, which is why they do it. But you can pour a little bit of, I had that this morning, actually. I put a little bit of whipping cream in my tea. It was chamomile yesterday because I felt very stressed. Today I had neem tea, which is also really, really good. It's It's an adaptogen and it acts as a nervine, so it calms your nerves. So that's another way to go is with neem. Oh, I didn't have neem. I just lied. Tulsi, holy basil. I had Tulsi tea and with cream. So that's another thing you can do to soothe your nerves. But the nice thing about lavender, I always have it here on my desk. Lavender, you do not need a carrier oil. You can use it directly on your skin. Most people test it on your wrist here. And if you don't have, if it doesn't turn red or, hurt or anything, then you can sniff it, or I tend to go like this and I put it right under my nose. And so I can just keep smelling it. So the next thing you can do is if you want to anchor your spirit or ground yourself, you can use frankincense or vetiver. And you notice I use different brands. If you take my essential oil class, you'll find I don't recommend one brand. I tell you how to evaluate brands so you know that they're good. And so frankincense and vetiver, you cannot put directly on the skin. So you can diffuse it. You can sniff it from the bottle, which is what I did earlier today to ground myself. I used my grounding pad and I did this. And I touched the floor. The other thing you can do, or is that on the next page? I think that's, no, maybe not. No? Okay. Another thing you can do is you can either walk outside in the grass, or you can bend over and touch the grass with your hands, or you can bend over and touch the floor. Like I have tile floors. So if you have tile floors on concrete, you can ground by going barefoot on your concrete or tile floors. Not asphalt though. Okay. So more tools is journal. And you can say, what must end in my life for the new to begin? And so you may want to maybe have some lavender, sit down and meditate, or burn some frankincense incense, or diffuse the frankincense or vetiver. Ask yourself this question, go into a meditative state, and then do channeled writing, where you just start writing. I always suggest drawing first. You don't have to know what you're going to draw. You just use your non-dominant hand, start drawing. Whatever comes up, then start to journal. Because you may draw a picture of what you're going to let go. It may be you're going to change your diet. Maybe you're like, that's what I did. Maybe you're going to change, you stop smoking or stop drinking or let go of recreational drugs or do more walking or exercise or whatever it is that you want to change about your life. Maybe it has to do something with work. Maybe it has to do something with family, personal relationships, spirituality, whatever it is. Pick a category and say, what must end in my life so that I can change? Because if you don't let anything go, everything stays the same. And you're living Groundhog Day. You're just doing the same thing over and over. I get it. I see this sometimes. People on podcasts will say, I saw this today. This guy says, I get up, I work two jobs, I do this, and when I'm not busy, in order to support my family and so my wife doesn't have to work. He's living Groundhog Day. Is that fun? God, no. That would drive me crazy. I'm a 5, remember? I like change. I don't want Groundhog Day. I don't live Groundhog Day. I never have. I've always done different things. When my days are not exactly the same every single day. I don't do the same thing every single day, but that's me. You may want to have certain things that you do first thing in the morning. Maybe you have to go to work, so you have no choice Monday through Friday. And then maybe you've got family or kids, so you've got responsibilities. My daughter's gone, so I just have my dogs. I have to take care of the dogs. So are you living Groundhog Day? Write it down. What is it you're going to change so that you're no longer living Groundhog Day? And that's going to be very important for you to develop your ascension skills. And I don't have time tonight to go into all of that. but the universe mirrors us. So if you live Groundhog Day, all the universe is ever going to give you is Groundhog Day. You're just reliving the same thing over and over and over, and that's what the universe gives you. If you have the same kind of relationships over and over, the universe is just going to give you the same kind of relationships until you say, no, I don't want that kind of relationship anymore. So if you want to get out of whatever that loop is that you're in, you have to change. And remember, a door closes, a new one opens. That door closing is you making a change, whatever that change is, so that a new door can open so you can change your life. And this is for everyone. And if you don't do it now, so we went through something like this back in the 90s. I remember vividly because I went through this back then. And if you didn't make the changes that you were presented with, you got stuck back in the old paradigm. And now you're getting a second chance to wake up. I woke up in the 90s. So benefit from the fact that I woke up. And if you haven't woke up, or if you only woke up partially, or maybe you were too young in the 90s, maybe you were, elementary school. Usually what you wake up, some people wake up early. My experience is most people wake up in their late 20s, early 30s. And by the time you're in your 40s is when everyone pretty much wakes up, 40s, 50s. That's why they call it the midlife crisis, because that's you waking up. You can sit with a candle. And, if you have any kind of grief, fear, or other emotion you want to let go, you can just let it go into the flame. What I like to do is write it on a piece of paper, wad it up, and then you need a fireproof bowl. You set it on fire and put it in the bowl, and you let the smoke go, and then you put the ashes outside. You return it to the earth. So you return through the smoke to spirit, and you return the bowl to the earth, the bowl of ashes. So that's another thing you can do to let go of certain emotions that you don't know how to relieve. You can also sit in stillness and invite clarity about what your soul is calling you to embody. And you might want to do that and then journal. I've been journaling a lot lately, sometimes more than once a day. So I'll have time, I'll have a date and I'll have a time and journal and time and journal and time, because I don't know about you, but I've been going through a lot. So do what you need to do to help you through this. So here's some more tools. Obviously, you can meditate, you can pray, not just for yourself. I always tell my patients, I've told more than one of them, pray, but don't pray for yourself. And I had one woman get mad at me. What do you mean don't pray for myself? I always pray for myself. No, we're all one. When you're praying for humanity, you're part of humanity. Guess what? So you don't have to say, oh, I want money. I want humanity to live in peace, love, and harmony and have all the abundance that they need, because it's an abundant earth. People didn't used to work. They harvested sometimes animals, sometimes plants from the environment. It all changed when we became farmers and started settling down. But before that, the earth provided whatever you needed. It was there. So don't worry about whatever, because whatever you need is going to come to you. So pray for humanity. Pray for the humanity you want to see for everyone. And keep in mind that certain government styles have been proven not to work, because someone has to make the money that everybody else gets. So everyone has to pull their own weight, unless they're very, very young or very, very old, or they're an animal. Humans are supposed to take care of the animals. So I feed my dogs, I take care of them, I take them to the vet, because they can't do that for themselves. Okay, so visualize when you do your meditation, you can sit down and visualize a golden web of light, stabilizing and soothing the collective heart. So what I like to do is, first, I fill myself with light, whatever kind of light, there's so many different kinds of energies, whichever one you like. White light, crystalline light, divine light, and then surround yourself with a golden egg. And then see the egg spread out as a web, excuse me, of light going around all of humanity, the collective heart. And the heart is just energy. Okay, physical hearts, they're just an illusion. It's our energetic hearts. And just visualize the whole earth being embraced by those golden threads. You know, I ran out of water. Maybe there's a drop left. There was a drop left. Hopefully I'll stop coughing. Okay. We are not powerless in these times. In fact, we're powerful. The eclipse reminds us endings always precede beginnings. Remember, one door closes, another opens. So just because you have to change, just because some things are ending, and a lot of things are going to be ending, doesn't mean the end of the world. There's a new beginning. There's a new world coming. So this dissolves the old. And I'm inviting you to hold the space for the new frequencies. Hold the space of compassion, justice, and awakened purpose. Compassion, justice, and awakened purpose, or whatever you want to hold the space for. And you can do that during meditation. I know there have been a couple of days where I couldn't do anything all day long but meditate. I just meditated all day long. I couldn't do anything else. So that's one way to hold the space, is to meditate and go into your inner space and say, dear divine God, source, whatever you pray to, Jesus, Muhammad, Allah, whoever you pray to, and just say, I hold the space for. And then what do you want to hold the space for? What do you want to see in the future for humanity and the people you love? So trust what is stirring in you. So we're all different. We all see the world differently. We've experienced the world differently. We have different families, different education, different experiences. Everything is different. So whatever it is that's coming up for you, that's right. We're not all the same, and that's a good thing. It would be really boring if we were all the same. My friends are all eclectic. Some people have completely opposite beliefs from me, and that's okay. I respect their beliefs. I may not agree, but I don't care. Believe whatever you want. Whatever you believe, I honor that in you. That's who you are. So hold that space for everyone, no matter who they are. And trust what's coming up for you. Was it compassion, justice, or awakening purpose? Or was it something else? If it was something else, then that's the space you hold. So this is your paradigm shift moment. And you're going to miss it if you just live another Groundhog Day and you don't stop to smell the roses. You're going to miss the whole thing. And I don't want anyone to miss the whole thing, because you get to come back and do all of this over again for another 2,500 and so many years. And I don't know about you, but I don't want to do that. So how am I dealing? So this is, I told you I would talk about how I'm dealing with this. So for the past probably month, I'm super sensitive to everything. So I felt the lunar eclipse before it ever happened. And then I went through it, and, for 2 nights, I was awake all night long. Whenever there's a lunar eclipse or even a full moon or a new moon, I don't sleep. I can't sleep. I'm awake. If I do go to bed, I'm up 2 hours later, and I'm up all the next day. I just don't sleep. And it got so bad last night and the night before, I actually took ashwagandha. It is an incredible sleep aid. You cannot take it every night. Okay. It has other side effects if you take too much for too long. But if you do it every now and then, because you just really need some sleep, you can do some ashwagandha. I also have some other herbs that I use sometimes, but I ran out. They're from Evergreen Herbs. And it depends on why you can't sleep. There's like 3 or 4 different formulas, and you take the one that works for you. So you can figure out what works for you. You can have some chamomile tea, maybe with a little bit of cream in it. You can have some Tulsi tea. You can diffuse lavender, or you can make a lavender spray and spray your sheets to help you sleep. Whatever you need to do. I've been lathering myself with lavender, and I ended up having to, like I said earlier, spend what's today, Sunday, Thursday and Friday, and most of Saturday, all I did was meditate, which is why I'm making this podcast so late. In fact, I was supposed to do a different podcast, and I decided, you know what? I'm not going to do that one. I pushed it till the 29th. So I have a different one for this week and another one that is an extension of the aftermath of the eclipse for next week. So it's too important what we're going through. And I didn't realize how this eclipse would hit me, and it hit me hard. If it's hitting me hard, it's hitting you hard, especially if you're an empath, and a lot of my friends are empaths. So some of the things that I'm going to do is I've set to put up a set of rituals for each day next week. So I have the 15th and 16th, what I'm going to do, the 17th, the 18th, the 19th, the 20th, the 21st. And it's not the same every day. And starting on Wednesday, the 17th, I'm going to begin a fast. And I'm not going to eat again until after the eclipse. That's part of what I'm going to do. I'm also going to be turning off my phone and my computer, which is why I'm going to do next week and the week after's podcast tomorrow, get them uploaded so they'll go live automatically. So I don't even have to turn on my computer. My email will back up, I know. So if you don't hear from me until next week, that's why. I do have some meetings tomorrow. But from Wednesday on, I will be, I'm going to turn my Wi-Fi off. And you won't be able to get a hold of me. My phone will be off, the Wi-Fi will be off, the computer shut down. There will be no EMF or technology around me. And I will spend the time meditating and fasting, probably doing some shamanic journeying, using lots of essential oils. Probably I'll be diffusing the frankincense and the vetiver. I may add lavender in because vetiver and frankincense are kind of earthy, they're grounding. So if I add a little bit of lavender, it'll let it smell. I like the smell of lavender. So that's my plan. So I have a plan, and it's different for each day as to what I will be doing between now and Monday, the 22nd. And if you don't know this, the 22nd is a power number. So it's 9/22/9. September is 9, the day is 22, and we're in a 9-year. Nines are about endings. 22 is a power number, and it's about how we get through in the world, through business, through our jobs, through our government. So it's an ending for our current structure. That's what 9/22/9 means. If you follow numerology, I love numerology. It tells you not everything that you can get with astrology, but almost. And it tells you in minutes. All you have to do is know how to add simple numbers. But if you look up the astrology, I'm not going to do that tonight. That's not what it's about. But I've actually looked it up for my chart. So if you don't know how to do that, you go to astro.com, it's free, put in your name and birthday, go to free charts, extended. And when it brings up your chart, be sure you use whole house. So you have to change the setting from Placidus to whole house, or I think it's default. And the default's Placidus, and you want to go down and change the default houses to whole house. and it'll give you your astrology. You click transits, and then you just look at what comes up. And or you can listen to what's her name? Lunatic Astrology. What's her name? I know her name really well, and I just can't bring it up at the moment. Anyway, Lunatic Astrology. She does whole house, and her predictions are right on. Are they perfect? No, nobody's perfect. But I started following her when I realized how accurate she was. And that's when I found out she's accurate because she doesn't use Placidus, she uses whole house. When I use Placidus, the readings are all off. I've been having readings for years and they were all wrong. I switched to whole house and all of a sudden, oh yeah, that is my chart. That is what happens on those dates. Yeah. So I always suggest whole house, Hellenistic astrology. And so I studied with her teacher, Adam Allenboss. Adam Allenboss. It's hard to say his name. Anyway, that's my journey. That's how I'm going to be getting through this next week. So you may find yourself going crazy at times. I know I've been going crazy. You may have trouble sleeping, or you may be so full of energy you can't even shut down. And you need to maybe have some chamomile tea or something to calm yourself, so calm your nerves. Journal, whatever's coming up, just write it down. You remember, no one's going to read your journal and you don't have to read it. You can just write anything and just get it out. Okay, so that's my message for today. I hope it was helpful for you. If it was, can you share it with a friend? And I would really appreciate it if you could like and subscribe because it really helps with the algorithms. I know everybody on YouTube says that, but it's true because if you don't have many likes and no shares and no comments, then YouTube doesn't market you. Now, my YouTube is free. You shouldn't be getting any commercials because I do not monetize this channel. So if you're getting because I subscribe to YouTube, I never get commercials. I don't like commercials. So if you're getting commercials, I don't know why, because this channel is not monetized. I don't make any money off of it at all. And again, if you want to do the Om for Success program, that's free. The link is down below, omforsuccess.com. DiamondSourceLight.com is free. I don't collect cookies or anything. So if you go there, I'm not going to ask you to subscribe, nothing there. If you go to Om for Success, you do have to subscribe, but I don't spam you because it's in my app, and my app requires that you create a free. The app is free. I don't charge for the app. So I do as much for free as I possibly can. So these things here are for free. Dancing Bear Enlightenment Academy is how to get to my app. You can use this QR code. It says smartphone app. Okay, I have a bunch of QR codes. One is for the smartphone app, and one is if you go to Dancing Bear Enlightenment Academy, and there's a tab on top I think it says app subscribe or something, and it has the link to my web version of the app. So if you don't have, I have friends that don't have smartphones, so you can get the web version of the app, which actually works better than the app. So I usually send people to the web version, which is DBEnlightenmentacademy.com. Okay. If you want to know more about me, my 5 near-death experiences, all my certifications and degrees, you can go to drbeverlylawrence.com. And there's links from here to everywhere. And if you want a reading, you can go to dbmedicalastrology.com. Okay. So thank you for joining us. And remember, I'm sorry. I usually stop the share before now. I forgot. So in signing off, remember to be the light you want to see in the world. And we'll see you next week.